Hello to my classmates and professor. My name is Matthew Powers, and this is Introduction to Sociology. And the assignment is the analyzing mass media, and in particular, magazines. Now, I don't get a lot of magazines, don't really pick them up. Used to, but I found they just stack up and kind of go through them a couple of times, and then that's it. So kind of debated over what I was going to do, and then I realized that as a retired person, I actually do get a magazine every month. This one here, AARP, and I actually have another issue with Jeff Bridges on the front that I'll try to reference later on. And AARP stands for the American Association of Retired Persons, but they actually changed their name. They've been in existence since 1958, but changed their name recently to just the acronym AARP. Uh, when looking at this, I thought, well, what am I going to do with this? And then I realized that, I realized that in many ways, retired people, what's called the baby boomers, actually one of the largest sectors of the population in America today, uh, is something of a subculture. And what's kind of interesting is they're now a subculture, yet at one time they were very much a part of the dominant culture, the one that actually uh, changed and shaped the way society developed in many ways. So, going through the magazine, looking at the advertisements and what they're targeting, well, it's kind of clear, old people like me, we don't really we don't look at the glitter as much anymore, and all of the bells and whistles. We kind of look for bottom lines. We've been around for a while, so we're kind of looking for what is the bottom line. And one of the first ones I found in the magazine that I chose was one for cell phones. Now, all of you, um, and actually I'm kind of technical, so myself included to a certain extent, really know your way around the cell phone. You're always ready to get the next best and biggest with all the neat stuff in it. And I'm kind of like that too. But a lot of my peers uh, are much less like that. I know my parents, for example, I just was able to get them on a cell phone just because, it's 2014, you got to have a cell phone, right? And they needed something that was simple, something that they could understand and function uh, to the level that they were comfortable with emails, texting, and just making basic phone calls. And they also, because like myself, being retired, we're on a fixed income. Our annual or monthly income is pretty much cut and dried. We know what it is, and we have to govern our expenses based around that. And that's one thing I noticed in this ad for this cell phone. I don't know if you can see it. My computer kind of looks weird to me, but hopefully it records better. It says no contracts and 100% risk free. And it also gives a base price of as low as $10 per month. Now, for a retired person or people, you can see this joyful couple down here, like, oh, look at this. Hey, honey, it's you. Pictures on the phone. Uh, so the advertisement in this example, and I also noticed through all the other examples too, it's very much focused on not only the people they're trying to sell to, in this case, retired people or people of a senior status. I don't know, is there a politically correct term for old people? I am one, so I never really found one. I never used it. I just always respected them. They have the best stories. Uh, and I noticed it with a lot of the other advertisements too within this. Let me find another one here quickly. this is another big issue, and something that's always on the mind of older people is retirement. Retirement and your finances. How are you going to be able to survive once you're on a fixed income? How do you cover not only the essentials, but how about the incidentals, the things you don't look for? And this advertisement focuses right towards that. And Fidelity is advertising here for a retirement plan, one that that works, one that fits within not only a budget, but also fits within um, the financial abilities that a person has at that time. Another one that came about, and I will say something more about this. This one here is kind of a health benefit thing, and there we have a senior couple sitting down there. This is a joint cream for joint muscle aches, those kind of things that really they happen the older we get. I know um, I'm almost 60, and I'm pretty spry. I mean, I'm probably towards the younger edge, just heart-wise, mentally-wise, physically, than most of my peers. In fact, I know people who are 10 years younger than me that are way older. But the older you get, you do have aches and pains and all these kind of things, and so the manufacturer of this product knows that, and so they are targeting the readers of this. Like I said, this is a retirement magazine. This demographic is very specific, and there's a lot of information out on it. And the advertisers who want to sell their products or services um, put a lot of effort into making the advertisements that are within this magazine palatable to the consumer that's going to be reading it, and that is older um, American citizens. Uh, Life insurance, another quick one. I saw a number of these that were in the magazine, excuse me. So life insurance kind of ties in with the financial. I did want to say something more about the joint cream that I had put up there a minute ago. This Arnicare gel. I probably didn't pronounce that properly, but I actually thought I go through this magazine, and to be honest, I don't usually look at too many of the commercials. I kind of read the articles, and I'll talk a little bit about that later, as long as I don't burn up all my time. Um, because it's very fascinating, and it does hit a real strong historic note in my life. But I was surprised at how few medications were advertised within this magazine, because I know, and if any of you have ever watched late night TV, I mean, come on. Every time they got a new pill, they spend $1 million to run it every 10 seconds on my favorite program. This magazine doesn't do it. And I think kind of the reason why is because they know that the people who are reading it aren't going to pay attention, because we're not really all about that. Um, the guy selling the pill is, but we kind of trust our doctors and talk with them in an honest way that lets us know that they're up on top of it. Interestingly enough, another let me take my note off here. Another advertisement that was in here was for a convention. And this convention is going to be held down in San Diego. And it's designed specifically to address needs, concerns, questions a person might have, brainstorming, kind of a think tank to a certain extent of the older population. And so that was also another advertisement that was in there. And I kind of noted that retired people, older people, and not everybody in this magazine is retired. I mean, people work well on through their life. But their concerns kind of all end up being the same. They're concerned with health. They're concerned with nutrition, physical fitness. They're concerned about money, activities that they're going to have in their life, like, say, travel. And they're also have social concerns about what's going to be my social group. Who am I going to hang out with? How am I going to, stay connected. And it was interesting that one of the advertisements in this magazine was actually addressing that. Now, because I don't want my time to go too much over, I'm going to have to splice this together. I will run through really quickly. Here is another advertisement which deals with nutrition. Again, focused exactly the way an older person would want to get the information. What works? What's it going to do to me? What's it going to take? And how much is it going to cost? Now, the magazine itself has taken and placed within the back because we do want to know things. And when something strikes us, we'd like to know how to get it. This is an information card, a mail-in, snail mail of all things. But for those that are web and computer savvy, they do have a web address so that we can actually circle what might interest us and get more information on it. One of the things that I noted with AARP is that it's very multicultural in its perspective. We can see various races and people of color that are included in this because this demographic of being old, it's all of us. It's going to hit all of us at one time or another, and I really appreciate that because another aspect of coming from the generation I do is that we're very much a symbolic culture. We come from the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, and we really kind of have a whole lot of water under the bridge as far as going through social changes. And so the history that we come from is important to us. In fact, there was an article in one of the magazines here which talks about the rise and fall of the fitness generation. Actually goes way back. I was kind of surprised it didn't go back to like the guys I remember, like Jack LaLanne, when he was on television, only in black and white, mind you, and Yul Gibbons when it came to eating grape nuts and some of the different things for health and nutrition. But those are the things that kind of stick with us because we're very much in touch with our history. As much as we look towards tomorrow, we also remember where we came from yesterday. And that kind of brings up another aspect of just the magazine in general, is that this idea of knowing where we came from and what we fought for and what we went through, and sometimes things that we fought against and that we had to succumb to. That as a cultural aspect, as a group, as a subculture in society, we kind of hold those things as being important, and we tend to remember them. And one of the great articles was an article about a young woman during the racial times who was an author, and it's a reflection back on what was it after 50 plus years ago. When she was writing. And I like that aspect. And it's not just a matter of racial, it's a matter of trends. Here's a picture of Sugar Ray Leonard, who, believe it or not, is now 58 years old. I remember watching him fight. In fact, I think it was on pay-per-view, which is a really modern invention. Or how about another person, Cher? Believe it or not, Cher is now 68. And here's some little pictures somewhere of her. Kind of a little timeline photos. This little girl back here, I actually have albums that I bought brand new with my own money when they were first released, with her and Sonny coming out. So I think that the magazine, that the advertisers do exactly what the readers of the magazine expect. And I think you'll probably find that in most magazines because there's a demographic to it. If I buy Cosmopolitan, I'm probably going to fit a demographic that a purchaser of Ebony is not going to fit. And ebony purchasers are going to fit a demographic that purchasers of hot V dubs may not fit. So I think the advertisers are very in tune to what's going on socially with the population that they're trying to impact. And well, impact. I think AARP tries to impact its population positively, but some advertisers are just out there making a living. And so, thank you very much for listening to this. Uh, I hope it made sense. I'm going to have to splice it together, so pray for me. I hope I understand my technology. God bless you.